Chen Ji has been quietly running a vast real estate finance network spanning across Asia while allegedly concealing sophisticated money laundering operations. If Cambodia was where he and the Prince Group amassed their enormous fortune through fraudulent schemes, then Singapore served as the key hub for legitimizing those funds. In Singapore, Chen Ji was often seen traveling in a Mercedes Maybach with the license plate 5555 and hosting lavish yacht parties off Sentosa Island. A year later, he founded DW Capital Housings, a Singapore-based family office claiming to manage over USD 60 million in assets. He also appointed Chen, a Singaporean national who was later sanctioned by the U.S. as chief financial officer. On October 31, Singapore police confirmed they had launched an investigation into Chen Ji and his associates over allegations of money laundering and document forgery, seizing assets worth more than SGD 150 million, around USD 115 million, including a yacht, 11 luxury cars, and numerous rare wines. Beyond Singapore, Chen Ji owns multiple assets in other major financial centers. In Hong Kong, his conglomerate controls more than $300 million in holdings, including stakes in listed companies and real estate in prime commercial districts. Chen Ji is also the controlling shareholder of Zitao Da Holdings, construction engineering services, and Cunning Group, electromechanical services in Singapore. Both companies are now on the U.S. sanctions list. Their representatives said they were seeking legal advice and monitoring developments closely. A director at Cunning Group resigned on October 23, while the company's auditors announced they would not be renewing their mandate the following day. Even in Palau, U.S. officials revealed that Prince Group had partnered with organized crime figures to lease islands and develop resorts, extending Chen Ji's empire deep into the Pacific. Singapore police stated that intelligence on suspicious transactions first surfaced in 2024, prompting cooperation with international agencies. However, additional information from the U.S. and U.K. on October 14 triggered the latest enforcement wave. The Monetary Authority of Singapore confirmed that local financial institutions had already filed suspicious transaction reports. Some banks even closed high-risk accounts, helping to prevent large sums from remaining within Singapore's financial system. In a statement on October 31, MAS noted that not only Singapore, but several other Asian authorities were expanding investigations into Chen Ji's network. The Taipei prosecutor's office announced it had opened a case immediately after media reports broke, while Hong Kong police confirmed they were gathering intelligence on fraud-related activities, but declined to provide details. The Cambodian government refused to comment directly, but cited remarks made by the governor of the National Bank of Cambodia at the Blumbus Forum on October 27, asserting that Cambodia should not be defined solely as a hub of scams, a perception that harms the nation's reputation. In Cambodia, an ambitious Sihanoukville redevelopment project had elevated Chen Ji's profile, even as suspicions about his operations began to surface. Canopy Science Development, a subsidiary of Prince Group, partnered with Singaporean firms to launch the USD $16 billion Dream City megaproject. Yet the group's prestige quickly faded. Following an investigative report in February 2024 highlighting numerous irregularities, Prince Group responded by hiring Singapore LLP as its legal advisor. However, the firm later confirmed it had terminated the partnership and declined further comment. Despite the mounting controversies, Prince Group remains a sought-after partner for companies seeking to expand in Cambodia, especially within its 934-hectare complex, now rebranded as Bay of Light, Bay Apply. International authorities have exposed a massive fraud and money laundering network allegedly operated by Chen Ji, chairman of Prince Group, who is accused of using Singapore as a legal haven for illicit operations worth billions of US dollars. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, behind the 8th floor of an ordinary office building in downtown Singapore, lavishly decorated with billiard tables, karaoke rooms, and cigar lounges, lay the facade for dozens of shell companies used to launder money for Asia's largest cybercrime syndicate. U.S. prosecutors allege that Chen Ji's network illegally profited billions by exploiting trafficked migrant workers, forcing them to participate in online scams, from romance fraud to fake investment schemes. In October, both the United States and the United Kingdom imposed their toughest ever sanctions, placing Chen Ji and the Prince Group on the blacklist and freezing their assets. Chen has also been criminally indicted in New York. Investigation documents show that his network spans multiple continents, from USD 133 million in London real estate, 17 luxury apartments, to USD 15 billion in Bitcoin seized in the United States, marking the largest asset seizure in the history of the U.S. Department of Justice. Despite its global reach, Singapore remains the key base that allowed Prince Group to maintain a veneer of legitimacy. With its reputation as a transparent financial hub, the country inadvertently became the launchpad for Chen Ji's expanding empire. The U.S. sanctions list includes more than a dozen companies and 3 Singaporean nationals directly linked to Prince Group. One of Chen's close associates has been identified as overseeing scam compounds in Cambodia, where workers were allegedly forced to work under inhumane conditions. The Washington Post described this as a classic case of Singapore washing, where corporations exploit Singapore's flexible legal systems and strong financial reputation to conceal fraud and money laundering. Several Singaporeans formerly holding key positions at Prince Group, including Gabriel Tan, Communications Director and Head of Prince Foundation, and Edward Lee, Head of the Real Estate Division, were also named in a U.S. bill proposing sanctions against individuals aiding cybercrime networks. Under mounting public pressure, the Prime Minister's Office of Singapore announced that Singapore is cooperating closely with international partners in the investigation. The Singapore Ministry of Home Affairs confirmed it had frozen 32,000 bank accounts, seized $20 million, and, on October 30, issued an asset freeze order covering SGD 150 million, including 6 properties, bank accounts, securities, and cash linked to Prince Group and Chen Ji. According to Yonhap News Agency, South Korea's National Tax Service has also launched an investigation into Prince Group Representative Office based in Seoul, suspected of running a transnational scam network. The probe began after a large-scale government audit aimed to identify Korean citizens linked to international online fraud rings, among which Prince Group was a primary target. The NTS stated that the group's Seoul office, located in the city center, was believed to function as a financial transit point for illicit activities. Prince Group is accused of setting up multiple overseas real estate consulting firms, hiring local staff, and disguising their operations as legitimate commercial trading entities. Investigators suspect the group raised tens or even hundreds of millions of won from South Korean investors through fake property projects before transferring the funds to affiliated companies in Cambodia. An NTS official, Andiux, said authorities could not verify whether domestic investors ever actually acquired those real properties. He added that Prince Group is also suspected of laundering scam proceeds under the guise of overseas investments. Beyond Korea, Prince Group now faces international sanctions for involvement in severe crimes, including kidnapping, torture, and murder. On October, 64 South Korean nationals accused of participating in online scams in Cambodia were repatriated. Most of them were men in their 20s and 30s, suspected of engaging in romance scams and financial fraud in criminal zones across Cambodia. Among them, 59 were arrested during a crackdown by Cambodian authorities, while 5 voluntarily surrendered and were returned home in the same batch. After repatriation, all were distributed to local police stations for investigation to determine whether they voluntarily or coercively participated in the crimes. Police sources cited by Chun noted that regardless of the criminal profits earned, they could face severe sentences if convicted of organized crime. This large-scale repatriation occurred shortly after the shocking death of a South Korean student in Cambodia, allegedly tortured by criminal gangs, further intensifying fears about the expanding cross-border crime networks spreading across Southeast Asia. Thank you for watching this story. If you found it meaningful, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video. And now it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for staying with